It's a Friday. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to One Good Question. This is our Friday episode where we answer your questions. So if you want to get involved, what I need you to go is 50percentfacts.com. You join our Discord, and if you're part of our community, there's tabs on the left. On the left, it's called One Good Question. You can ask us absolutely anything you want. If your question's chosen, we'll give you a prize from 3SB. If you don't know what Discord is, think about it as like a forum, meets a group chat, meets a WhatsApp. It's super easy. We have like-minded community there. You get exclusives, giveaways, and all that on our apparel. And today we have Joe from Gameday and Nico from Gameday joining us on One Good Question. And we're going to get a little meatheady. I like to take advantage of our guest knowledge as we do it. Joe, great lifter, even better coach. Nico, terrible human, great smile, really good lifter.
Great Ninja Turtle smile.
And so this is a common question. I think probably still something up in the air. I think I don't know the percentage. Maybe you get 30% of people dying on this steak and the other 70 saying no. But we'll start with Joe. Okay. Actually, we'll start with you.
Oh, great.
Ooh. You're a big bencher, bro.
Right,
you're strong. The question is, how do we feel about the overhead press? So I guess we'll start with the barbell, but we'll say any overhead pressing, dumbbell, et cetera, correlating or helping the bench press yourself. So maybe just go on throw Nico coach out the window and just say for just yourself, and then we'll get Joe going in with a broad spectrum.
So we're talking like for me as an athlete.
Yeah, how
like
your shoulders, your overhead. Do you overhead? Do you like dumbbells?
Right. So I legitimately do not do any overhead press work. I have not done anything overhead press related in the past 4 years.
Okay.
Like at all. Like,
what about before that? Because what I find a lot, and a lot of coaches, and you probably see too, you're like, well, Dan Green doesn't do that, and he pulls 800. Well, what did Dan Green do 3 years ago to get to 800? That matters too. What Dan Green's doing right now may not be the best thing to get you where you are. One, you're not Dan Green. Two, your pull isn't there. So what about earlier in your career?
So earlier in my career, like I told you before, I was running Oga's 531, and one of the days you were prioritizing overhead press. So I did that for like my first 2 blocks ever in like a real power building split.
Okay.
And during that time period, I think my shoulders were like arguably the strongest I've ever been.
Yeah.
That I was training them consistently, and like my overhead press, like I was pressing around like 185 strictly.
Oh.
Okay, so that time period was really good. But then as I learned more throughout the years, like I wanted to get stronger at bench pressing, which is very technical. It's very
specific.
It's really different compared to the overhead press. And honestly, the way that I bench myself right now, like I have a semi decent arch in my bench press.
You're a cheater.
Yeah, I'm a cheater basically. I cheat. And like the overhead press muscles that like we're directly using with that movement, it's not going to directly correlate with the way that I'm benching. So
do you do some front delt work? Do you do some lateral delt work?
I legitimately only do like 3 sets of lateral raises weekly for my shoulders, and that's enough to maintain like my shoulder health and get a good pump.
Yeah.
But I bench 6 times a week.
Okay, so you're just getting a lot of pressing in.
Yeah, I bench 6 times a week. So like my variables are they're on the higher end for frequency and volume. My intent, I cannot.
You bench 6 times a week.
Yes,
I bench once every 6 months, and I almost whooped your ass in a dumbbell competition. That's crazy. Imagine if I benched 6 times a week.
Dude, he let me win yesterday. Yeah,
saw. If you see, we'll see the video on YouTube. Yeah. If you see his last rep, this dude was talking to Jesus and praying to Allah, and mine is squeaky.
You're talking to someone that literally benched 330 for a set of 8 20 minutes before this, and someone.
Yeah, so you're nice and primed.
You did 1 set of front squat. You did a single front squat, then you're right into dumbbell. You're fresh. Bro.
You're nice and primed.
You were fresh.
I'm eating 1 calorie an hour. All right, I'm fucking limited over here, and I'm old. You're young.
You guys can measure variables all day, but I mean, Nico still won.
He did. You did win. Hats off, little one. But you're 10 years younger. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on. You do dress nice all of a sudden, though.
Oh, yeah.
All of a sudden, you got Riz on your swag.
I really like these clothes, man. Third Street Barbell. Have you guys ever heard of them?
Coach Joe, what do we got for the overhead? Is it person-specific? Is it probably overrated? Or is it a key to helping people's bench?
So to be honest, if you asked me this question, say, a year ago, I'd be like, nah, just never overhead press. But the more that I've gotten into just like diving into biomechanics, different things like that, I think it is going to be person specific, to be honest. I'll just use like a very extreme example in this case. Like if you're somebody that has a crazy bench press arch, I don't think that you're going to need to do like a ton of overhead press work, but it could help.
Sure.
Because simply put, like there's going to be a certain point where the anterior portion of the delt is going to be contributing to that. So if your bench is just not moving and you've tried everything else, that might be my last resort.
Yeah.
But for the majority of people, I just don't think that it's gonna have this like major contributing thing. Basically, put my go-to thought is if you can tell for a fact that your shoulders are just super duper weak, like let's say you're going in and benching and they're just always super duper sore, they're never really adapting to training. Your delts are just probably not strong enough for the workload that you're trying to give them. So doing some extra work there could probably help. But most of the time, I just don't think they're going to be something that you have to train directly, simply because the anterior portion of the delt is used so much in bench pressing already. I just don't think that as long as you feel recovered going into it, if the shoulders don't physically feel like that limiting factor, it's just not something that's going to be necessary. And I'll use a personal anecdote as well, because my bench has actually been moving for like the first time in years. I actually started doing some like overhead pressing work, just dumbbells, and it actually hurt my bench press because it started to hurt my shoulder.
Yeah, just too much.
Yeah. No. So I don't think it's super duper necessary. I think there's going to be some rare instances where maybe the movement patterns are a little bit closer. Like, you know, like no matter what you do, where your grip is in an OHP, it's going to be a pretty long range of motion. So if you're like a super duper close grip bencher, I could maybe see there being a little bit more transfer there, but ironically not because it's helping your shoulders, but just because you're getting your triceps used to a little bit more long range of motion pressing.
That's how I do a lot of like bench variations. If you're
Mm-hmm.
super technical and you got a super wide grip bench, well then we'll probably go on flat back close grip for some of your accessories just to do something different than what you've been doing.
Right.
Agreed.
So,
Okay, let's change the game for just a second here and say overhead pressing on one hand versus push-ups.
ooh, shoot. I guess
My N is small, but I've seen plenty of people over the years like increase their bench press by concentrating on push-ups as an accessory.
Just getting like some workload in.
Yeah.
are we talking like are we talking like weighted push-ups or just body weight?
You choose.
Okay, so I would say if we're talking weighted push-ups, I think there would be some transfer there.
I'm kind of a fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this thing that we talk about in like the movement of your scapula is called scapulohumeral rhythm, and just frankly put, it's a great way to kind of practice that movement, load that pattern, just make it something that you're more used to being strong going through that particular movement pattern. So yeah, I can see a lot of great transfer there. I don't see why it wouldn't be an issue. The only time I would say it might be a problem is if you overdo it, like if you're just doing like weighted push-ups constantly, because then it could maybe take away from your bench press. But yeah, doing that 1 or 2 times a week, I could say yeah. If I'm being honest though, I think the best accessory is weighted dips.
I was about to say, like, there's
Really?
like so many other things that would be beneficial for bench press, and like, I mean, if you're limited on equipment, then yeah, weighted pushes will barely get the job done. But like, for example, like incline dumbbell press, like, it's another supplemental exercise that would give you so much more than just a weighted push-up. Like, if you're limited on equipment, then yeah, do it. But like, there's so many other better things to do.
The dip takes maybe not rare, but I find that not most, but it's a split, kind of like overhead, of who even can feel good during dips. Because I'm incredibly good at them, but they don't feel good, so I just don't do them a ton.
All right,
you know,
come back to that in a year because it's trending right now. Actually,
dips are really
weighted dips are trending.
Yeah.
So come
I
back
bang
to
them
me in a
out,
year.
bro. I'll whoop your ass in a dip
I
too.
suck at.
Yeah, I'll whoop your ass,
suck.
but it just gets my shoulder a little angry. Talk about like too much anger in your front delt, like that goes straight to my dips. So if I am powerlifting mode, I just stick to benching my tits off, which often helps for most people. Benching 6 times a week, benching 6 times a week, it helps your bench.
Yeah. I will say like the sort of standard answer for most people these days is like if you just want to bench more, just bench more.
Yeah, it's often right, and keep the variations as close as you can.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as we start to go overhead, the variations
Don't
quite a bit
overcomplicate
different.
it, basically, is what they're saying.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Yep.
Shout them out, Nico. Where can they find you, bro?
All right, they can find me at Nico Flores 83kg on Twitch, on Instagram, on TikTok, literally every single platform. The gym that
Twitch on Saturdays.
Twitch on
Apex
Saturdays.
Pred.
Apex Pred in the next year. That's the goal before 2023.
Dude, we could do it.
We can do it. I believe it. But yeah, anyways, the gym is in Austin, Texas. Gameday Barbell is the name. 5 minutes away from the airport. Instagram.com/Gameday Barbell. Joe,
Hit him.
You can
What are
find
you
me
taking my job?
You can find me on Instagram at Joe_Gameday, on TikTok at the Joe Stanek. You can follow both those platforms, learn a little bit more about powerlifting, lifting weights in general. And if you want to see me suck at gaming, Twitch.tv/Joe Stanek.
Not when the Halo BR comes out.
Oh, yeah.
Our
yeah.
squad, dude, is me, Kyle, Joe, and maybe Nico if
I'm
he
not
steps
playing
his
that
shit
game,
up.
dude.
Halo BR?
Halo, come on.
I am not a Halo man.
Dude, we're gonna go crazy.
Dude, you're going to pick up the sniper rifle, and you're going to just
Yeah.
absolutely
We'll let Joe
destroy.
IGL that one, dude. I want to hear your fucking voice. I'm gonna mute you in Discord.
I have the best comms ever, dude. Come
No,
on.
you talk a lot. We've gone over this. There's difference between comms and talk a lot. Boys, appreciate you. Game day coaching.
Yeah, if you
Game
guys
Day
are interested
Barbell.
in coaching, gamedaybarbell.com.
You have all of
It's
it
all
on there, I assume.
Yeah, it's all there.
Easy. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for listening. Brand new episode every Wednesday, Friday. You know me. I'm Silent Mike, 3sb.co, and we'll catch you next Wednesday.
I am at the Jim McD on all the social media. This show is 50% Facts, where percent is a word and 50 is just numbers. 50% Facts is a Spreaker Prime podcast in association with iHeartMedia on the Obscure Celebrity Network. We'll talk to you next time.